Hello everyone, Bill Parish here from GTT Audio, and welcome to the channel today. Well, you know these two fellas,
Right.
but this is the first time that I'm visiting Dean Waters out here in Washington State, Vancouver, Washington.
It's great to have you here. Welcome.
Down in your casino.
It's a fun place to be.
And we've got Dr. David Robinson,
Right, just call me Chip.
editor-in-chief over at PFO.
Hi, Rays.
So we're having fun. I had to come out here and collect some gear that you'll see at Expona. Both of you have reviewed a lot of gear for us. But what we wanted to do today is talk about an upcoming review that you both are going to write. David, you said you're gonna think about publishing like a 1-2 punch on it.
Yeah.
And which would be really cool. It's the Dejitter product, Switch X, Wi-Fi X, and David, you actually have two of the Switch X's, and one of them you have an Apple TV X inserted.
Yeah, the TVX plus Switch X downstairs, and then the Switch X plus the Wi-Fi X upstairs. With that bloody amazing Aruba wireless access point, which is the best thing I've seen. Yeah, so we're going to be tag teaming this one between Dean writing about that plus the TLA.
Well, both of you actually have an IT background, which is one reason that I wanted to get the Switch X into your hand, because it's based off the Microtech enterprise ISP level switches that really can do anything and everything.
Well, and what he's done with them, I mean, he's taken those switches, which are already telco grade, and he's actually taken them, gone inside, and reworked them, in addition to changing out the power supply, and made them better.
Right.
Made them actually really customized them for audio streaming and for the audio file.
Well, he really has. I mean, he's got polypropylene caps, tantalum caps, ceramic caps, each and every port. Now, and we'll talk about this in a second, the dirty network, clean network.
Right.
But every port in there, even on the dirty side, has been dejittered.
Right.
So the second that you plug in, you're dejittered, you're lowering jitter, lowering noise, and then you talked about the power supply, the linear power supply,
Correct.
in which it is a third generation R-core transformer. It has noise sensing and noise canceling technology in it, what's unique to the Switch, which...
Well, and it has a feed. When you look at your typical power supply, you'll have, positive, minus, and a ground. And there's another connector in there, which is a power sensing connector that goes directly inside the switch, and it is able to determine in real time the exact power requirement that is required by the switch at that moment. And it delivers the precise amount of power and no more.
That's exactly what I was just going to get to, where it's a DC switch, right?
Yeah.
It's running on 12 volts DC, and DC is 2-pin, and it's a 4-pin.
It's a 4-pin connector,
and it's not a 4-pin connector with 2 pins dead.
No,
the other 2 pins are working for that noise sensing and noise zapping technology.
Yeah, Dean got suspicious, so he cut one of the pins off.
All of a sudden, it didn't work.
It delivered too much power, and all of a sudden had noise.
It was Dean the Moyle.
Yeah, boy. Well, extra power has to go somewhere. This is where I'll fix it in the edit, or not.
Or not.
We're having too much fun.
I know.
Yes.
Well, I tell you, really, we got to speak to the Dejitter at I don't remember his name. We spoke to him for over an hour.
Chris Stevens.
Chris
We
Stevens.
did a Zoom call. Yes.
He was wonderful and incredibly knowledgeable, and was able to explain it very well. And I've done networks for a long time, and what he did, in addition to the noise cleaning and the correct power and the correct power supply, linear power supply, and all the caps he's changed, which is amazing. In addition to that, the architecture is that now you have 2 networks inside the same switch, which we refer to as the clean network and the dirty network. Dirty network being all of the devices on your traditional home network.
Yeah, your home network is the dirty side.
Your light bulbs like me, and the thermostat, and your computer, and your laptop, and everything that you normally find in your home is on the dirty side of the network. And
your Ring doorbell,
Ring
your alarm system,
right? All my cameras,
anything that's connected to the network.
correct.
Yep.
And one of the challenges in those networks now, traditional home networks as well as commercial networks, is the amount of chatter and the amount of noise. Even when you're sleeping in the middle of the night and you think your network's not doing anything, it is. Every device on your network is continually sending out keep alive packets and ping packets and service location packets. I mean, there's all this traffic that goes on your network that you're not even aware of.
Yeah, when you see your switch, the light's blinking.
Right, it's always going.
That's
It's traffic.
yeah, but it's happening millions of times more a second than those lights.
Yeah,
flashing.
yeah. The light.
That's just letting you know, hey, something's going on. But no, it's
Yeah.
going.
Yeah,
You know,
each time you see a flicker of a light, it's probably hundreds of packets, depending on the amount of gear that's on your network.
Right. Well,
And-
we call that chatter.
Yeah, you call it chatter, you call it noise.
Yeah, and it has to be first in, first out. It's got to be, the worst thing, of course, is to have an unmanaged switch. Next step up is managed switch, but the switch X goes beyond that.
Correct. What they've done is now we've isolated. We now have a clean network as well. So all this traffic on the dirty network is happening as it normally does, even though the ports have been dejittered, each individual port. We look over the clean side. This is where you put your audio gear, your streaming gear, the stuff that is highly sensitive to jitter, highly sensitive to noise, highly sensitive to packet delays, and packets arriving out of order. This is critical for audio, which Bill will talk about in a second. And that traffic is logically and physically isolated from your dirty network.
Yeah, there's a brick wall between the audio system and your home.
And it's a one-way brick wall because everything on the clean network can talk to everything on the dirty network. So if you have something on your clean network, your streamer or whatever, and you want to download content or stream content from either the web or from your dirty network, you can, because those devices can reach through the firewall into the dirty network.
Yep.
But devices on the dirty network cannot initiate connections back through to the clean side. Right. So now you take your Wireshark or packet capture tool, whatever you want to do, and put it on your clean network to see what's going on. And the only devices that are talking are the devices on the clean network. They're not being interfered by anything that's in the rest of the house or your neighbor's house or any other noise. That's just the wireline side of it. And then talk a little bit about the wireless side of it, which also integrates with this.
Well, should I? Yeah, I think I'm going to tell the story.
Yeah, it's a great story.
I'm going to
The
tell
story
the
illustrates
story.
it.
So this fella has an audio system, and he tells me that an audio system he bought from me, and he tells me that he has this noise whenever the phono stage is engaged, and I know my phono stage is dead quiet. I mean, this gear is just dead quiet, and that there's this hum. So I said, all right, well, I've never met a hum I couldn't beat. So into the car I go. 3 hours later, I'm up at his place. I've got my snips, my grounding pliers, or my strippers, my wire, grounding plugs. I'm grounding all over the place, and this hum will not stop. And I'm moving around, and all of a sudden I hear a bang, and the Wi-Fi Orbi fell off the rack, and the hum changed.
Yep.
And I'm like, what? This Wi-Fi device? So I move it. Now remember, this stuff is not supposed to be anywhere near the audio bandwidth. This is supposed to be...
That's the important point.
Yeah.
Because, we think of Wi-Fi networks, we're thinking 2.4 gigahertz, we're thinking 5 gigahertz, we're thinking 6 gigahertz. But you're running in an environment where it's affecting the audio,
somewhere
which is
in
not
20 to 20K.
Right, exactly. What's going
on?
Right.
Yeah. So I move it, and as I move this thing around, this Orbi, the hum changes. We get a longer. I unplug it, the hum goes away. Now we've discovered the source of the hum. So the solution at that point in time was to go and get the longest Ethernet cable you could get the Orbi far enough away to where the hum was at a minimal. So then
Now comes Aruba.
Now, well, Switch X comes out,
Switch X.
and then Chris, I tell Chris about this story.
Mm-hmm.
He gets RF meters. He starts buying off of the internet every Wi-Fi access point he can get. They all are showing up in the audio bandwidth except Aruba Networks, which is well, it's enterprise grade, it's DOJ approved, it's NSA approved. I mean, these
And
are,
that's the important part. This is no accident.
No.
Right? NSA and DOJ, the military,
and this is MilSpec.
yeah, they go to Aruba in this case, and they said, we need wireless access points that don't leak.
That's right.
For security reasons. Their needs are security. They can't have extra chatter, extra noise in any other bandwidth range.
Right.
And so that's how we get Aruba. That's how Aruba comes into the picture, because for the military, they design these wireless access points that only talk on the frequencies that they're supposed to talk on with no leakage.
Right.
And now back to
Yeah, that's right. So he gets an Aruba, and it is 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gig. It's just what it should be. It has a metal shroud on it. That's not this plastic stuff. I mean, there's a reason that
there's a reason they do it
that Orbeez and Arrows are $100, and this is $3,000. Yeah. So.
and he also changes the power supply as well.
Well, I was just going to say, so what does Chris do? He can't leave anything alone, so he tweaks the inside even further, rolls a special audio software package, and builds a power supply, again, with noise sensing and noise canceling technology.
Correct. And again, it delivers the precise amount of power that's needed in real time, so there's no extra noise.
So this client that had this hum issue calls me and buys one based on some of these videos, and we got the word out there. And he called me and he said, Bill, this may be the biggest upgrade I've ever done.
Of everything he's done.
And he's done a lot of stuff. And I'm like, well, it's
This.
the last thing you've done, so everything else allows you to hear it. That's
Right.
great. So recently he did another major upgrade, and I went up to his place, and I almost panicked as I saw the Aruba, the Switch X, or the Wi-Fi X. The Wi-Fi X was literally sitting on the phono stage.
Yeah.
I put on the phono input, dead quiet.
Yeah.
Dead quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about
Well,
tempting fate. I mean, but it works. That was like a proof in concept.
and just before we started this video, you said we want to make sure we talk about impressions.
Yeah.
Well, here's a great example of the impression and how it affected his music and his listening experiences, and what impact, what his impressions were.
Right.
And we had similar impressions when he hooked his up. We couldn't stop talking about it. I hooked up mine up, couldn't stop talking about it. And for a dyed-in-the-wool network guy, I'll be honest, I was a bit of a cynic. I understand networks, I understand Ethernet, and I've done data center work. You've seen the garage.
Well, you've
seen all
done
the
data
gear.
centers. You've done corporate data. You've done political campaign data. I mean, you've done it all.
Yeah. And so, IP is IP, and packets are packets, and frames are frames. Was my way of looking at it initially, but the proof is in the pudding. Once we hooked it up, no, this is different. No, this does make a difference. It actually works. It actually works. All of a sudden, there's more openness, there's more dynamic, there's better colorization, there's better imaging. All the things that we look for now show up. What you got to realize is that when we're streaming content, we want that path needs to be as clean and as clear as the path is on the analog side, going from our amplifiers to our speakers, and from our interconnects going to the DACs and all the other gear that we have. We don't think about networks. We don't pay attention to it. And that's a mistake.
Sure.
That's a mistake. It's important, especially when you get into highly resolving systems like what you have and what you have and what I had.
What I just took from you.
What you just took from me. Yeah. Sad.
Heartless.
And high resolution.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The customer base that you have, they're interested in the best. They understand high resolution. They understand PWM, bitstream versus PCM. They understand DSD. And all of that stuff, there's so much of that small traffic that traverses the network, it has to be clean. As soon as you introduce jitter, think about it, as your DAC is communicating to your streamer, your storage is communicating to your streamer, whatever it is you're doing, and there's additional frames coming at it from the light bulb, from the thermostat, from the cameras that are recording 24 hours a day. There's all this extra traffic that the switch has to process.
Right.
And so what does it do? It throttles ports. It doesn't have a choice. As a new device comes on, it sends a broadcast frame which reaches every device on that local network segment, and all of your devices are sending broadcast frames all the time, and all of that traffic has to make its way into the network interface card of your audio gear, and the audio gear, the network card on your audio gear, then has to discard all those frames because those frames don't apply to that piece of gear. That takes cycles, that takes bandwidth, that takes time. Yeah. So by isolating this, we get rid of the broadcast storms and all of the broadcast traffic that comes from all of our devices, and we allow the audio network to do what it's supposed to do. And the difference is clear. I mean, the difference is clear. We could talk about bits and bytes all we want, but at the end of the day, when you plug it in and you hook it up and you set it up properly and you fire it up and you go and you listen, you could do your A to B comparisons and you say, there is no comparison. It's better.
Oh, yeah.
It works.
And there's no comparison to the other stuff on the market either.
Yeah.
Most of them, they wouldn't even understand the stuff. That
If
Chris is doing.
if you have experience in IT and networking, we started out umpteen years ago with unmanaged switches, which are the lowest level of switch. And all they did was just chatter, chatter, chatter.
Yeah. Well, before that, we had hubs.
Oh yeah, well, I didn't want to go that far back. But you got used to looking at these unmanaged switches and just seeing just the constant flashing of lights. And that's, in audio terms and video terms, that's not good. Because it means that TCP/IP as a system is having to do all of its traffic cop stuff. Mm-hmm. And it was originally done with the idea of spreadsheets and Word documents and things that it didn't matter if it took an extra
it's unnoticeable to the end
milliseconds.
user. It's unnoticeable to the packet retransmissions and those
Yeah,
things are
the
unnoticeable.
spreadsheet goes out there and it shows up on my desk, and I don't care if it comes in within this time or 200 milliseconds later.
Yeah.
I don't care. There it is.
Right.
It's much faster than I'm drinking my coffee.
And not so much in audio.
And so long ago, I redid my positive feedback reference system so that I went out and bought a bunch of Cisco managed switches. Mm-hmm. Because I knew, in theory, because it supported quality of service, QoS, mm-hmm. that it would recognize automatically when a multimedia stream was coming through. Video, audio, and it would give priority to that traffic. Okay, so I'll hold this Word doc for a handful of milliseconds while this stuff gets through that really needs to get through in order and without time lapses. I thought I was doing pretty well until I tried the Switch X.
Yeah. Yeah.
First the TVX on the video side, which was a revolution, but then to plug the TVX into the Switch X and realize, oh my, because instead of chatter, 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 if you look back behind our screen, you'll see I've got a big Cisco managed switch back there. And that feed in turn then comes to the front end. And if you look at that, even this managed switch, you're seeing chatter. Okay. With priority to audio and video streams. That's the big difference. When I had the Switch X up front and took TVX into that, made all the connections, and tossed only one lead into my dirty LAN, into the general network traffic. I sat there for 5 seconds. I'm looking at Switch X after it's come online. What I'm seeing is point, point.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well,
I mean,
broadcast traffic's been isolated.
each port fired its LED once.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah.
And then nothing.
Yep.
Once together and nothing. Because it doesn't have to do anything else because it's walled off all the chitter chatter.
Yeah.
Well, and you've got to both hear it and see the performance. Yeah. I mean, it's astonishing when I tell someone who, we've sold a ton of TVXs, and then you tell some of the guys some of them want to upgrade to the Switch X. So they put the Switch X in and then plug the TVX into that.
Yep.
And it's like getting the TVX times 2. Yeah. It's a super TVX.
It really is.
Yeah, the difference that you see between Apple TV and Apple TVX, you see that same difference once you throw in Switch X.
Yeah, the first time I saw it at your house, I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Yeah.
I saw it in your living room. I went, wow.
It's
film.
It was film.
Yeah.
In the audio world,
film on an OLED.
In the audio world, we talk about getting you on the stage, right? The difference between listening to a recording and being there in the environment. And that's what we strive for in audio. And you're doing the same thing in video with making it film.
Yep. Yeah.
Making it now, it's real. It's real. It's not just a reproduction that has all the traditional limitations of reproductions. Now all of a sudden it's real, right? And those switches, the Switch X's, not only they're fully manageable and customizable to whatever your environment might be. Yeah. So first of all, I mean, it comes with its default setting. We've got our clean network ports, our dirty network ports, and if you were to say, I don't need that many dirty network ports, but I need more clean network ports. That's a configuration change. That's easy. You can actually go into the switch and actually make whatever changes you want to make in the switch. It's similar to Cisco's iOS language. And not only that, all of the physical ports are GBICs, which means it's flexible. Oh, yeah, so whatever your last piece of connectivity is, whether it's Ethernet or whether it's fiber or whether it's multi-mode fiber, single mode fiber, whatever you want to do, all you have to do is plug in the right GBIC and it works.
You can do copper.
You can do
1 gig, 2.5 gig, 5 gig, 10 gig. Yeah. It's completely backwards and forward compatible.
It's a different system entirely. Get those SFPs and
where there's not another high-end switch out there that can do Ravina and AES 67. How everyone else is using that is the AV switches from Netgear.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. But that's just a switch. That doesn't affect
correct.
Anything except for it's the AV switch of Netgear.
And what they do in the radio and TV business is they use multicast. In other words, because there's so much network traffic, they know that this stream has to go to these 12 consoles, even though there's 500 devices on the network.
Right.
And so what they do is because there's too much chatter and too much stuff, they do a multicast where this one frame will get delivered to these specific addresses only, and that happens at the managed switch level.
Yep.
We get away from, and that's a lot of configuration, by the way. That's all your devices.
We've had to implement that in the Switch X as well.
Yeah, and it does.
Due to a couple, I think it was Orlick. I think one of the servers needed to have multicast turned on, and we did that, and all of a sudden you see it.
Yeah. You can do it.
We can do anything and everything with this switch, and write custom code if we need to.
You can. Yeah. I mean, imagine what happens when this type of switch and this technology makes it into that vertical, in radio and TV, because it'll also do multicast and everything else. I mean, there's a whole other world out there.
Well,
to
there's
be
there's
experienced.
studios in Europe right now using this
Yeah.
this Switch X. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because it really
It
does.
makes a difference.
It improves the sound. We're talking about the technology. It has a ton of technology, but improves the visual and the sonics.
Yeah.
Guys, I can't wait to read your written work.
All right.
Thank you so much
Sure.
for participating in this video.
And thank you for coming out. Thank you for coming to Vancouver.
Hosting me out here. Your place is incredible.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you,
well,
David.
for all sorts of reasons. Let's see.
Guys, thank you. We'll see you from Expona.